Alright guys, so we have a special topic Tuesday for you today. Now I get asked basic questions about e-cigs all the time, like this one. So I figured today, instead of answering those questions 100 times over down in the comments, I would go ahead and just do a basics of vaping video. And today we're going to be taking a look at some of the basic vaping terminology. But we can't do it here, so grab your books and pencils, bitches, because we're going to school today. Get up! Alright everybody, welcome to class. Go ahead and find a seat. Sit anywhere you want. Make yourselves at home. After all, it's your home. Alright, as you can see, this is Vaping 101. I'll be your teacher, Mr. IndoorSmokers, and today we are going to be covering basic terminology of vaping. Alright, you guys are welcome to go ahead and vape in our class. Since this is a vaping class, I want to thank everybody for being here on time, except for those of you who weren't. Alright, so you guys know you were supposed to read chapter 1 in the text before you got here today. So who can tell me what PGVG stand for? Yeah, back in the corner. I think I can answer that one. You see, when you get the PG on your bottle there, that means that's pretty good e-juice. But when you get the VG on your bottle, that means it's very good e-juice. So, you know, that's the good stuff, right? Yeah. No, not even a little bit. So actually, PG stands for, while VG stands for, I feel like we're in the electric company. Anybody remember that show? Yes, so propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. Those are your basic substances of your e-juice. Now that's going to be mixed with flavorings and different levels of nicotine to give you your basic ingredients. So I'm not a chemist and this isn't a chemistry class. So we're not going to get into the basic components of either of these. We're basically just going to discuss PG and VG as it relates to vaping and your vaping experience. So, propylene glycol is associated with more throat hit, more flavor, but less vapor production, and I would say a thinner vapor that dissipates more quickly on the exhale. VG, on the other hand, vegetable glycerin, this is known for having thicker, richer vapor. Although you're going to get less throat hit, a more mild vape, and less flavor. So generally, if you go with a higher VG consistency in your e-juice, you may want to do extra flavor shops if you go to a place that allows you to do that. I do feel like for people just trying to get off cigarettes, that throat hit is more important at that time because you really want to get the same sensation and feel that you got from smoking. So most of your disposables and your intro e-cigs are generally very high in PG, maybe an 80-20 or a 70-30 PG-VG. Now, if you move up to a company, there are some companies that do sell 100% VG, and there are some companies that are very good about allowing you to customize your levels of PG-VG, even allowing you to dilute your 100% VG with distilled water. One of the companies that does that is, I'll put links underneath for both of those if you want to go check them out for yourself. So the next thing we're going to get into a little bit is battery resistance. So who can tell me about ohms? What's ohms? Yes. Yeah, I learned about that shit when I was on my trip to Tibet. No, and don't ever do that in my class again. So ohms actually doesn't stand for anything. It was the name of a German physicist or something like that who came up with the principle. But basically it relates to battery resistance. The higher the ohms, the higher the resistance, where the lower the ohms, the lower the resistance. Now again, I'm not an electrician, and this is not an electrician's class. So we are only going to look at battery resistance as it again relates to vaping and your vaping experience. So the way the wattage that you're going to be vaping at is determined is based on two factors, at least two main factors. One is the voltage that you are vaping at on the device itself. The other is the resistance of the tank or atomizer that you're using. So one of the ways to get a higher wattage vape is to turn up the voltage if you have a variable voltage unit like an Ego Twist or a Vision Spinner. Another way is to lower the resistance. Now, by lowering the resistance, even with the exact same voltage, you are going to get a higher wattage vape. Now, the nice thing about variable wattage devices is that you don't have to really figure that out for yourself. They have a microprocessor that basically adjusts the voltage automatically to maintain the same wattage regardless of what resistance device you're using on it. Now, if you are using a variable voltage device, then you are going to have to adjust that based on the different resistance of the tanks. So if you were to switch a tank from a 1.0 ohm to a 2.0 ohm tank, then you are going to have to adjust your voltage accordingly. Now, the problem with that is if you have an Ego Twist or a Vision Spinner, then you aren't able to read ohms on that. So if you don't already know what the ohms or the resistance of the unit or device you're using is, then you can have problems. Now, if you've got a variable wattage device, it's going to figure that out for you. You can switch from a 1.0 ohm to a 2.8 or anything in between and vape it at the exact same wattage, and it will adjust the voltage as needed. So I really think if you're going to get an adjustable device, variable wattage is probably the way to go in the beginning because it makes it a lot easier and a lot less to figure out for new vapors. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. You're welcome to vape in here. If you smoke, you got to go outside, though. All right, guys, we'll see you in 10. Excuse me, Mr. Teacher? Yeah, how can I help you?
I was just wondering if you know why it is that when I vape, my dick gets hard. Do you know why that is?
No, I don't know why that is, but you're not allowed to vape in my class anymore. And could you step back from me a little bit? All right, welcome back, everybody. So now we are going to talk about mAHs.
Dankin', you don't talk about my ma, you son of a bitch.
Calm down, Dookie Dynasty. I ain't going to talk about your mAh. We're talking about battery milliamp
Now that
hours.
is
Basically relevant just to Ego-style batteries, the type that you actually charge the entire battery itself rather than putting a battery into the unit. That is a different topic for another class. So, when you're talking about mAh, mAhs or milliamp hours of batteries, you're talking about the bigger the mAhs of a battery, the longer it's going to last. That's really all you're dealing with. It's not going to affect the power or the voltage or anything else. How long the battery is going to last is going to be affected by the mAhs of the battery, but also by how high a voltage you're vaping it at. So obviously if you have the voltage up higher, it's going to run out quicker. Now, the two ways you can get more power into a battery is either to make that battery longer or to make it thicker. Now, the Vision batteries tend to get a little bit thicker as they get bigger, where the Ego batteries tend to be longer and thinner. So when determining the battery mAh that you want to get, just base that on how long you're going to need that unit to vape for you. If you need to take it to work and you're going to need it to vape all day, maybe you're going to want to get something like an 1100 or 1300. All right, and last but not least, I want to clear up a common misconception that what comes out of this is vapor, V-A-P-O-R. I am a vapor, V-A-P-E-R. So if you get asked on a question what you are, don't say a smoker or you're going to get that wrong because you're not a smoker, you're a vapor. So vapors, vape, vapor. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this class. I can see by the clock that we're just about out of time. Don't forget to do your homework. All right, guys, your homework assignment's on the board, and I'll see you tomorrow.